Absolutely. But, you know, sometimes being the underdog ain't the worst position to be in. They just very recently faced off against each other. Toronto Defiant came out on top. But maybe this time around, Vancouver Titans can make something work for them. I mean, after all, they are sporting the second best Australian player we have in the league. So that's something. And I know they have at least one of our casters with a slight bias towards that Australian player.
It's not
that right,
slight. It's just mask off at this point.
Go Titans.
It's just mask off, mate. Where?
Yeah, go Titans.
He's coming home, baby. You know, Scotty's lucky they only showed one of his Transcendence fat fingers and not the other one on Horizon Lunar Colony defense, because that was a bloody perler as well, just quietly. But
we casted all of those as well.
We did. Tell you what,
I feel like every time that Custa did something stupid, we were casting. And I was like, man.
Yeah, no.
What the hell is that?
He would walk through. They used to walk through the cast room on the way to the stage. And Scott would come through and be like, "Oh, Scott, you want to use your ult now and get it out of the way, mate? Just fat finger it before the game starts, or what?" So, yeah, we definitely didn't let him off easy here. But look, I think Punk's such a great story. Just quickly capping that off in how he's really pushed himself to develop. But what's even more important is how he's been given the keys and the trust, I think, to actually show the merits, the fruit of his hard work. They're going up against the Toronto Defiant, who've come alive because, I mean, they might have more to play for than anybody else in these play-ins, man. They are hungry as they come.
Yeah, I mean, you got, you know, the finals is in your home city, right? It's put on by your team. You got to be there. I mean, come on now, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and not just at the bloody meet and greet by the cream puffs.
No, they got to be playing real games.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah, they can't be. Yeah. But I kind of like Danny's point. It was a little bit of a meme, but also actually kind of true that, like, yeah, you know, they have 3 DP. Like, Sir Majed is doing, like, DPS level damage, like, playing the Alari in all the games that we've seen from them. That it's just difficult to play against a team like that.
But how do you, exactly, how do you account for this? Because obviously we know Ilari's very effective at short to medium range and her healing, and the turret's very powerful. It changes the win condition because your opponents have to push into that fortified position and get rid of the turret so they can actually be on, you know, a positive footing in terms of overall output. And then there's just the raw damage that can come from nowhere. So Majed really has been clicking some serious heads and making it hard to stand up against this Toronto Defiant squad in a head-to-head. Customers playing when Johnny was in the World Cup. Oh, the Mickey Mouse World Cup. I remember that one. Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I agree, Punk. I agree, Punk.
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, we did get beat by the Swedes that year, I'm pretty sure, on national TV in Australia, just quietly. So
it's the only reason why Johnny is sticking up for Scott is because Johnny doesn't want, you know, his career accolades to just.
No, exactly. He wants it to be a big deal. Yeah, that win against the team in Australia.
Because he hopes that one day he has a mansion and a Lambo like Custa.
I'm pretty sure that was just where you got married, by the way, Matt. That big old house. I don't know.
That wasn't it.
Well, it was fancy. That's what Spectre going to start off on the right foot, though. Crimso's already out of the picture here, and you have no look in. If you are Vancouver, right now it's about trying to reset on your side of the map without getting staggered.
Yeah, I mean, you lose your Ana, right? And in Ana Lucio comp, there's no way you can push up after that. And another thing that they've done really well with Toronto Defiant is, like, Hydron, like, kind of goes off on his own a little bit, plays in these off angles, and he's able to play so well and get so much damage out. He's able to find these picks, and it makes it very difficult to track down.
Hang on. Spectre just got skewered there. They got that one on the Barbie. Lads, Punk going to try and push up a little further here, though, but needs to maybe attend to the main choke because, yeah, Hydron is free-firing through that opening. Punk wants to make his way closer to the Defiant side of the map here, and Majid's lost another turret. Ultraviolet was laid on the ground. What a great sleep from Crimso, but the bulk of Kaluge protected his down support. Oh, here's the Captain's Son already? That's frightening.
Yeah, he just kind of throws it out there, right? Just use it on anybody. As
he got Punk, I think, but no follow-up.
Yeah, but yeah, there was no follow-up. The Nano actually goes here on the Sugar Free as they kind of bully them on back. So what was interesting there is that when, like, Hydron was on the flank, as soon as he was, instead of actually trying to make a play for Hydron, they just pushed on forward. They used the speed and got right into the face of the Defiant.
I wonder what the idea is with Majid and that Captive Son. It's probably hard to get, like, multiple players caught by that, and you're in more of a poke/neutral scenario, but there wasn't nearly enough damage to proc that, you know, Captive Son extra damage. And Sugar Free now carries a blade into this next fight against a team with no support ultimates that are defensive, right? This greedy support setup could be punished by a Genji blade, and so it is. Sugar Free's in there like swimwear, and already Hydron is out of the picture. Kaluge is clinging on to dear life.
Yes, I mean, he was getting the buff healing through the M Matrix there. He's able to make it out with his life, but it doesn't really matter. The rest of his team is not. You know, outside of that first pickoff, right, where Spectre is able to get Crimso from afar, it has been all Titans.
I mean, Sugar Free is buttery smooth. Those mechanics were stunning. But again, we sort of mentioned it a few times. Toronto Defiant have such an aggressive, high damage output, offensive setup. But when they have to play defensive or need to play around these game-winning, these team-fight dominating ultimates, it's hard to actually have access to that utility, the healing throughput. Another nano for Sugar Free, no blade required apparently. Hydron gonna fall first again, getting exploited even with his level of mobility, and Sugar Free gets out with a kill. Kalush finds him eventually, but it's only the 2 for the Orisa, and eventually he's gonna be dragged down.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna like stagger him out as well here. Is Kalush not able to find another one on the exit? Is
Hydron.
Tracer swap here for Hydron. Takes a shot.
He's saying just doing what he has to.
Be able to get another touch. Oh, nice shot there on the Spectra.
Great start here for your Vancouver Titans. He's saying is 4-0 quietly, doing a heck of a lot of work in that round. Sugar Free also at 4-1, and Hydron has yet to find a final blow. Struggling on the Sojourn, getting pressured heavily by the Genji, and then switching to Tracer to try and keep his team in it.
Yeah, his off-angle play was just not as impactful as typically it is, right? Playing that Sojourn, kind of gets that off-angle, doesn't really get kind of taken out by anybody, really. They just kind of like let him do so. Like, if he's going to get a pick from that position, obviously it's going to take some charge to build up before he can actually get a railgun shot. So they just push right on forward and just run over the rest of the team.
I want to point out the lack of support ultimate means that Sugar Free can get nanoed whenever, blade or not. Build a blade in that nano and still get a couple kills and then pull out a blade in the next fight. You don't have to play around beat or anything like that.
I like the 76 swap here as well. You know, getting that 76 in the mix, that'll give them, I was going to say, some good pressure on the Spectra, who's playing that Echo. And yeah, you talk about greedy, right?
Oh,
how is he getting any healing, right? How is the Echo getting any healing with like the Alari in the back? Jeez,
yeah,
you're really just looking at like maybe the healing turret, like that's like up in the sky, like on a wall, like playing around that. But that's not how Echo wants to play.
I think it's a hard read actually of what the Defiant are going to play. Spectra is a known Echo locker, so being able to counter that straight out of the gates is big for an early boost, and immediately we're over to the Torbjorn here. But he's saying it's a constant thorn. I mean, I tell you, Hydron is green with envy watching this flanking Soldier 76 play while he's on the main.
Yeah, right. I mean, what they had Spectra on the May the last round, right? So this is maybe so you can get in the mix, but I mean, this has looked ugly thus far from the Defiant.
Hey, the Torbjorn seems fine to try and limit Genji's impact and give him less freedom. The turret is, obviously a bit annoying to deal with, but it's going to take more than that to stop Sugar Free. The Defiant have realized their overly aggressively slanted compositions aren't going to cut the mustard on this map against the Titans.
Well, let's see how this works with the Soldier in the Torb, right? So the Torb is like to help deny some of that push that comes on through, right? When Hydron is off-angling, but does not seem like it's made really much impact. Okay.
Yeah, someone went over the edge there. Nicely done by Kalush. Into with a harpoon gun, ultraviolet. Any immortality field? Yes, but it's dispatched very cleanly, very quickly by Sugar Free and co. And Margin has nowhere to go except 6 feet downward.
Yeah, I mean, when your idea of a support ultimate there is just playing off of that
more damage.
Yeah, or just doing more damage. Not ideal, as looks like Hydron will end up making it out with his life. So a quick flip, and when I say quick, I mean not even 10% there. That goes over to the Defiant. The Titans have been dominant here in map 1.
They're looking excellent. You know, off the bat, the Soldier pick, shutting down the Echo, forcing the Defiant to play mystery heroes almost every other fight. Maybe not changing the operative part of their composition in those supports. He's a captive son. That's not a good target at all. He's looking at the Orisa like, do I go here? No, is the answer. Outbound's going to be used by Martin, but he's saying is there with a tactical visor. The Vancouver Titans are meeting the Defiant at every turn, and they have the superior option on every occasion. That was just dominant.
This first map was ugly. I mean, outside of that one pick that they got really at the start of the first round, right, where I think it was Spectra took out Crimzo. I mean, it was all Titans there. I mean, that map was fast. Feels like we just started this series like a few minutes ago. I mean, it's just an absolute roll in favor of the Titans.
Smile here on Punk, because he's got to be feeling good about how that couple of rounds went. He's saying is an absolute menace, quietly just being dominant. Fate ended to think 3-0 on their Lucio, unkillable. And now it's question time for the Defiant. Can you get away with trying to play your, what we've seen become signature style over this series? Or are you going to find yourself quickly headed downward in the lower bracket?
I mean, this is a little bit of a wake-up call, though, for the Defiant, right? Now, they've been so good being able to use this composition, right? And you mentioned it's obviously a little bit greedy towards, like, the offensive output. And they got punished for it, I feel like, here in a big way in map number 1, where, I mean, I don't think you switch off of this if you're the Defiant, right? I mean, your kind of second half of your season has really been, you know, bolstered by this composition, how good you've looked doing it. But, man, it's definitely got to have them second-guessing a little bit.
100%. He's saying on the Sojourn, then the Soldier. He's still hit scan oriented are the Vancouver Titans here that we've seen he's sang on May and many of those other kinds of picks before. And unlike the Uprising, the Titans actually have an Ana to back up the Genji. All of a sudden, you get nano blades, or you just get nano boosted and dive into a backline with those support ultimates. That's frightening stuff. The Toronto Defiant had better figure it out. And there's always a question of what their pick is going to be. Drumroll, please. It will be Numbani to set Spectra up to have high impact on the Echo, Matt.
Yeah, and then you'll go and also set up on the Hydron with the Ilari. So pretty good map for that kind of composition. I got to imagine that the Titans have something cooked up. There's no way they didn't expect this type of map pick.
No doubt about it. Stick around. The onus is definitely on the Toronto Defiant to figure it out here. 2 Canadian teams at 8 and 8, going at it hammer and tongs for the right to advance in our play-ins. one of my favorite parts of that Vancouver hype video is that there's literal scrim footage in there. You can see the workshop mod up the top left that has everyone's sort of stat line. So that's how deep you go for some of these clips here. But the Vancouver Titans are in good shape after the first map. You remarked, Matthew, that it felt like the map had just begun, only as it ended. The Vancouver Titans were dominant.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fast round there in favor of the Titans. And your boy Punk played pretty well. I know he's a fellow Australian, as we know. As you see is Arisa here from what?
Nothing. Carry on.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. It's all good, mate.
Oh. Yeah, no, he plays really well in map number 1. He has only 2 deaths, right? Keeping the deaths really low. They were not able to punish his Arisa at all.
Yeah, he played really well. We were on board with him actually at the start of that round, and he has to be very careful around just the raw poke damage that the Defiant have. And there's also the risk of getting caught out by Spectre on the Mei on that first round. So he's like being very careful. His rotations are pretty precise. I want to point out, this is one of the few teams that are really still playing a lot of Ana. Crimzo is an incredible Ana player. In his hands, she really looks like she doesn't care about what the metagame is. That, as I pointed out, sort of sets up Sugar Free to a greater degree as well. I think this team are just playing what they really feel like they're good at. Heesang gets to play this hit scan now, really gets to have those hero moments. Feels like it suits him really well also.
I'm super curious what they decide to play here on Numbani. I think that Toronto Defiant will play like pretty similar stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they play like an Echo 76 or something along those lines, right? But I'm curious in terms of what do the Titans play on this map?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think we should probably expect to still see like that Orisa high ground play. You can still play the Ana, I think, to quite comfortably, right? You can have a soldier of your own and try and play on the opposite bank, and you can have the Genji. So I don't necessarily think you have to change things too much here. Yeah, this is the exact composition I expected Vancouver to come out on. No changes, really. Your composition is pretty map agnostic, frankly. Kalush Sigma, though, I mean, that could be big. Ugh. His Sigma is something else, man.
I mean, they're on offense, so still a lot of time for them to, make some changes. The Titans, they'll play pretty much the exact same stuff they played there on that first map on Control. I think some opportunity for the Defiant to make some changes, and maybe it's just actually Spectrum. Maybe you actually do play the Sigma.
Yep. I mean, Kalush he said, I've mentioned this a few times, he said he generally thinks he's the best Sigma player in the world. And has looked very, very good on maps where Sigma has been strong, which is actually not many of them, on average in terms of the pool. So bringing it in here, and yeah, Spectre Echo, otherwise it's just those two with different picks. The core of the composition for the Defiant is the same.
And I think a big thing that we'll see here is Hydron going on these flanks and off angles, right? But how do they keep Spectre alive? You see he's actually just kind of playing around that Ilari turret that's set up there on that off angle.
Oh, that's going to be one you wish you had back. That is a freebie. Heesang overwhelmed Hydron in a pinch. Kalush trying to keep this Orisa at bay, but Punk gets caught on the wrong side of that kinetic grasp. Can't be healed up at all. Beautiful stuff for the Defiant. They definitely have a plan for this map.
Well, I also just think that Heesang I think he saw or thought that he saw Hydron over where Spectre was, and maybe he did, but then he just was not aware that the 76 was going to rotate down by, that lower tunnel by that health pack and just gets taken out right away. And once you lose your 76, that's a lot of your damage coming out. Yeah,
you ate the Helix Rocket, and I think Punk was searching for a way to even up the odds by pushing past Kalush, which is what you have to do when you can, right? Oris is pretty adept at doing so. Just hit that Fortify and ignore the Sigma for a time. It doesn't pay off there, though, as he uses the kinetic grasp to eat up the Ana healing. It's pretty good. Oh, okay, there's Martin. Headshot on Sugar Free. Now the win conditions are lining up for the Toronto Defiant.
Yeah, this is not a great start here for the Titans. You lose Heesang early on. Sir Majed gets in the feed here. And now, this is just allowing Hydron and crew to just get to work there. The Amp Matrix used during that fight, but you're going to have everything for this next one and high ground.
These are definitely the kind of maps that this play style of the Defiant can come to the fore. Spectre gets to abuse the Echo, and Kalush is just going to be very, very hard to shift and so strong in the poke game, where Heesang has to be careful of flanking at all. If he gets 2v1'd in a pinch, he'll blow up. Even 1 versus 1, if he eats a Helix Rocket, it's all over.
How do you get them off this high ground, though? You have nothing that can access it, really, outside of the Genji is...
So aggressive from Margin. He is up in their face, and Kalusia's going to push up as well. Nano on the Genji, but so far those legs of Hydron have kept him out of harm's reach. Sugar Free gets no value for that Ana ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you push them back, but after getting that first pick, you were going to do that anyway, right? I think
I love a zoning Nano boost. Them,
very nice. Yeah, they've denied them some high ground now, which I think is beneficial.
Yeah, can they make use of it themselves, though, to the same degree? That's dubious. See constant pressure here on that high ground. Here's a gravitic flux coming out. Attack visor now, mostly being eaten up by Punk, but he can't take it all. Who's in the flux? Maybe just the Orisa. It's hard to say. A sound barrier came down from Fate, though, in the meantime. Hydron is biding his time. He's a little low. Sugar Free's aware of this now as those rail shots coming over his shoulder from the Illari that catch Hydron out. That is a pretty common theme in Defiant games.
Yeah, I mean, Hydron, he's sitting there in the corner. It looked like maybe a little Call of Duty search and destroy strat there, just kind of like ratting it out.
Camping. Home base camping.
Yeah. Just kind of camping there. It's like, maybe if I sit here, they'll forget about me. They did not, as they just kind of ran him down with the rest of the team. So the Titans actually, I mean, getting some holds here is huge, right? Because they just gave up checkpoint A instantly. So any type of time they dwindle off the clock here at this stage of the map is huge.
Absolutely, Matt. And Crimso built another nano boost there. I think that's like 2 in the space of 3 fights, if I'm not mistaken. And that probably has a lot to do with the safe position that Crimso can play from against this comp. There's poke damage coming his way, sure. But he's a long way away from the Defiant with a pretty small hitbox and just dishes out tons of healing, building ult after ult. He's already a quarter of the way to his next one.
Yeah, they don't have anything for this fight, though. So this one will be the real test, right? How do they get through this fight?
He's so good. He's so good.
That's huge.
Oh, God. That's beautiful. Okay, here's a duplication. We have another soldier in play as Spectra going to copy Heesang. Heesang gets rid of the healing turret, though. Now Spectra's looking for a place to have impact. Maybe just plugging Punk with bullet after bullet. Yep, going to force the Orisa out of line of sight. Attack visor built, but he's only got 1 second of it. Better make it worthwhile. And it will fizzle, but Sugar Free is already taken down here. The Titans have attack visor of their own, though. Heesang looking for a way to find value here, and Marget's back in the fight with the Captain Sun already, but Kalusia is down. Captain Sun connects, but again, it's only onto Punk, and Fate has got another one. He's found Hydron in this fight. That is nuts. So much value from this Lucio player, and Fate does it again. Ultraviolet is down. This guy needs his flowers. Quiet achiever, but at moments like this, he comes alive.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of like a Lee J. God impersonation here, right? Just getting so aggressive, you know, with the speed off on his own, being able to pick off some kills. And this is going to have Spectre now go over to the Tracers, so you're not going to play this Echo. Maybe this put a little bit more pressure on the Crimso, but now it's been like 2 minutes. Fight. You're in a great spot.
I can't believe they won that fight.
Here for the Titans.
Yes, now they have a power spike with their support ultimates. After they were facing down some pretty scary ults themselves, Fate has a beat here. He does take note of Marget's location. He's attempting to flank, but the Titans are too canny for this one. It's another nano build up by Crimson, but Marget's found 2 in this fight already. The nuisance of the Illari really starting to take its toll now, and Sugar Free can't connect with a target during this blade. It's another turret down. Marget's low. He wants to follow it up here as Ultraviolet deals with Heesang. It's just not enough from Sugar Free and the gang in this fight. The irony is palpable. Winning a fight where you have no business and then losing it when you have beat and that nano.
Still though, getting it down to where you are in terms of the clock is huge here for the Titans. I mean, you gave up point A pretty much instantly. You get a hold that's now going to give them, you know, three, maybe 4 attempts here, you know, at the final portion of the map, but this is also the toughest portion.
Already Margin looking for a flank. Blade coming in now for Sugar Free. No nano to pair with it. It may not matter. Ultraviolet's not that immortality build. And here's a swing. It's good. It's 2 from Sugar Free. Spectre able to bring him down while he is suspended in midair. But how do you run from this? Punk? Well, that's how. You blast through them with damage. Hydron able to find that headshot damage. And Spectre back on the Tracer here. The Defiant prevail in a fight they probably should have lost. And now they're within striking distance of the goal.
Yeah, and that was like Punk actually putting pressure on the Surmajid, and then Hydron, he actually gets pulse bomb from behind. And then when the pulse bomb goes off, he just takes like 1 headshot there pretty much from Hydron. He's dead. Not a ton of payload progress gained off of that though.
Captain Sun, who gets it this time? Nobody. Sugar Free able to get away. Martin deploying another healing turret now, but attack visor is going to force the Defiant out of line of sight here. Hesang knows there's a tracer behind enemy lines. The composition for the Titans isn't really crafted to answer this kind of harrying threat, but a recall's been forced. Ultraviolet going to be under pressure. He is forced to use that immortality field. It eventually will be brought down, but not before Punk falls. They lose the Orisa. The Titans throw it all out there to try and get rid of the Baptiste, and it backfires on them. And now with 30 seconds left in the round, it's the Defiant getting home.
Yeah, they try a nano Punk, with the Orisa and push him on forward into the, into Ultraviolet, but just not able. The immortality field keeps him alive, not able to pick up any kills. I also think that could have been way worse for the Titans, like in terms of like how the Defiant were rolling on offense. Taking first point, winning that first fight on the second one, basically almost getting it to the second checkpoint instantly. Where the Titans, you probably have to look at that pretty positively.
What do you think about the late switch to Tracer by Spectra?
I mean, it felt like it was necessary. I feel like he wasn't getting a ton of value on the Echo. Once he got the duplicate and like you got that visor and it didn't really get anything, and it's difficult for him to get heals, and be kind of like a focal point in that way. It feels like they needed to make a swap where Tracer can, pretty much survive on her own.
It felt quite impactful. As I sort of hinted, there wasn't a lot to sort of answer it on the side of the Titans. Here's your head-to-head between our soldiers, and I mean, yeah, Hydron's been all over it. Final blows 7-3, but most important was that first one. Getting the drop on Hesang, connecting a Helix rocket, and securing a solo kill to create an opening for the Defiant to capture A.
The first one sets them up to take that first checkpoint and then win that second fight, right? Having some ultimates go in on it. So sets them up in a pretty good spot. Let's see what the Titans decide to run. Do they play D.Va here? This could be quite interesting.
It might be hard to...
D.Va's going to be pretty good against Spectra.
It might be hard to just play the Orisa up front because you have no option but to go main and get pummeled from the high ground, or try and take the top left high ground into a Sigma, which seems like a great way to take a lot of poke damage. So now Punk has some flexibility. Start low here, then transition high. It's an accretion. Faith is extremely low right now. The poke damage is taking its toll. Turret set up on the high ground here too. Where is Punk? Okay, playing in main still largely being ignored, but Hesang gets his revenge on Hydron. What a pick! Now can he transition to the high ground? That's the question. Faith starts the capture on the point here, Matt.
Yeah, and Kaluj drops low, so they don't have the tank up there on the high ground. So it just looks like everybody plays so separate. It looks like you have Punk still behind now.
He's alive still.
Supports. Crimzo gets in the mix. Oh, Crimzo with the double biotic grenade on both supports, but a nice immortality field.
Yeah, how do you follow up on it? Punk, okay, gets rid of the turret, out of mech form, and Marjet's gone down. Eventually, the Titans are able to lean into a crumbling Toronto Defiant defensive hold here. Ultraviolet with limited options now, but to try and hop, skip, jump away. Hydron and Kaluj, though, are a problem. Sugarfree doesn't have a way to get rid of this Sigma. He's getting healed at least. Got a bio there. It's just him, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a great health pack, right, to be able to try and get him in. I think that had to be a play there that Kaluj had to make. There's no way you could allow just Crimzo to just stand in the middle of the map.
2v3. This is 2v3. 2v3. That's filthy. Sugarfree gets the nano, and a big biotic grenade connection by Crimzo allows him and Sugarfree to get the job done. Punk switching off the Doomfist here. No messing, but able to get back to the point at the end of that fight. That was stunning.
And because they don't have the support ult, you can just use that nano just however you would like, right? They give it over to Sugarfree. He rotates off of the point. Crimzo and some teammates come back, and they're able to get on the point, finish the cap, and Sugarfree goes crazy.
All right, Spectra here obviously still on the Echo. Hydron seething after losing out the 1 versus 1 against his opposite number in the previous fight. Looking for a way to redeem himself. Playing around that turret, the healing turret, so pretty self-sufficient for now. We have a dupe of a D.Va. Head of the back line, maybe? No, the micro rockets here. Scuffing the paint of Punk's mech. The Spectra wants to create some spacing here for the defenders.
Yeah, it gives him a little bit more room around the corner, isn't like a super high value target, right? As don't get the full benefits of the HP pool. Allows Hydron to get set up in this position. Look at this. Is he going to be able to shoot through the Matrix here on this
Your
backside?
damage fall off is so high from this position, but if you can connect with the target for long enough, you might be able to have some impact. Punk knock out of the mech by the tack. But Faith's sound barrier did a lot of work.
Swap if he wants.
I swear
they actually get Punk as he was going back in.
Yeah. I've seen this before. Hydron playing from that position. But even with Tack Visor, yeah, you don't have to aim, but your damage fall off is quite considerable at that range, and you don't have enough time to get into the fight itself. I love the flank behind the attacker spawn, but the Titans push past and out of Hydron's effective range.
That's kind of what they've been doing consistently when he's been going on these flanks, is just pushing out of his range, just getting, you know, into the backline with relative ease, right? As Spectre now goes over to Tracer, so yet again, that Echo not paying off.
Yeah. Still like the Tracer here. There's nothing that really shuts her down. Gotta be careful, I guess, of the Soldier catching a Helix rocket at the wrong time. Speaking of which, Heesang gets a Nanovisor here. This is scary. He's on the other side of the Sigma as well. He can't be shut down. Here he goes into the back line, a good Helix connection, and now, after the Tack Visor, he still has the damage output. Margin is absolutely nowhere to go, and Heesang knows it.
Dude, Heesang has been sick so far today.
What did I say, Matt? Starts with a B, ends with Breakout Player of the Year. So,
Did you say he was the breakout player of the year?
I mean, I said that a couple of weeks ago when you laughed, but you know, I was getting excited.
I don't remember that.
I'm excited about this team. I'm excited to see Heesang also come out from under Prophet's shadow a little bit, I think, and get to show us this kind of stuff. It's beautiful to see. And hey, 3:43 to play. There's a lot to work with here for the Titans as they approach this last phase of the map. Pulse, no connection.
Self-destruct sneakily useful here as well towards the end of the map. It's not like an ult that typically gets tons of values. It looks like there's a connection there. What the Sun is,
He got him.
get one.
Yeah, he procced the debuff on Crimzo there. That's how he was able to snipe him. I think he probably would have killed him anyway at that level of health, but there might be enough here. What are Vancouver working with? Yeah, milling around the cart just a little bit now as they lack their main healer, but they have a sound barrier. So if there's an opening, you can commit here. I don't think there will be one.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll get one here. It's going to be a DMAC as Punk's going to look for the closest ledge.
Sweet release. Yeah.
Yup. They get a little bit of a reset, but now the Titans, right? Do you get aggressive behind sound barrier? Like, you can kind of...
What?
Oh, they actually catch Heesang out here.
This guy's aim is so cracked.
I don't think they expect them to just obviously push straight out the high ground, but do you consider using sound barrier in a more aggressive manner? Like, they don't really have... I mean, what? Kaluge could
You can't.
get a big flux.
You have to use it in flux, I think.
Yeah.
At least that's probably what the Titans, like, alt use protocols dictate against this comp. Ooh, Ultraviolet, that's a long-range Bionade that he got caught by. For some very early immortality kills, Matt. That could be big. Here it is. Sound barrier get used aggressively, like you suggested. And it protects the Titans from Spectra's pulse bomb. What a clean fight win for Vancouver.
Yeah, they get aggressive behind that. They also end up using sugar-free blade during that.
The nanovisor,
this sets them up for, this sets them up for the nanovisor at the end. So really nice complement of ults here to potentially set a really good time.
Sleep dart thrown out by Crimzo.
In the left side.
Hydron can't peek right now, but Crimzo could be in trouble. The tree might obscure him to a degree. He's safe with the tag. It's beautiful. The Nano really giving this some extra punching power, and Kaluge is trying to hide behind the barrier, but that's a big self-destruct kill. Both Kaluge and Hydron down to Punk, and the Vancouver Titans more than a minute lead heading into extra innings.
And, you know, with we don't really know how great the Titans defense could have been, because like Hydron goes on a sick off angle and takes out Heesang and then just crumbles after that. So we'll see if the Titans make any adjustments.
What do we like here from the defense, I guess, from the Toronto Defiant, sort of looking back?
I mean, I think you're going to run that 76 again. I don't think you're going to change anything comp-wise. I'm interested. Do you think they run the Echo at the start? Do you think they just start with Tracer?
It's hard
They've
for
been
Tracer,
falling
man.
back on the Tracer.
I mean, attacking this map with Tracer is so hard. I don't think they do it. You have to. You have a minute. Like, you have to go via Timbuktu to get to the high ground as Tracy here. You can't just beam me up, Scotty. Spectre's thinking about it, though.
Right, but if you're having Hydron go on these flanks and trying to set that up, it's going to take a bit for that to kind of happen as well.
Genji? Spectre have a Genji? Not great with his supports necessarily. I mean, pretty awful, actually, but... Yeah, he's a self-destruct. Look at that. You damned if you do, and damned if you don't. Nice tack visor, by the way. Shame if you got blown to smithereens. Yeah, well.
I mean, there's nothing he could really do about that. Maybe he thought he was going to make it to the other side of the door, but...
I mean, you have no choice. That is perfect placement of that D.Va ultimate on both sides of the doorway getting hit. So you are going to run the Echo back. The Tracer seems, yeah, pretty foolhardy at this point. You got a minute. Make it work, Toronto.
Yes, it'll be Punk on the Orisa yet again, so not going to play the D.Va on defense. Doesn't have like the staying power on the high ground that the Orisa does.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will fight for this high ground control, right? Which makes sense. That's something the Titans couldn't do, playing Orisa into Sigma. They didn't feel they could anyway. So I love the D.Va switch, by the way. It worked out for them well. But we digress. Crimzo needs to be very wary of that lower level. The tri-shot's also Crimzo.
Oh, Faith gets rid of Ultraviolet.
He's so good. He is so good.
They just push straight through.
Good.
They just use the speed and get right in their face.
Okay, sugar-free, yep. That's it. The Dilmar dunk is in session.
I mean, dude, they're forcing Toronto to make some serious changes here. It's what? I mean, now you got to just do this to touch the point. Serbajet over the Lucio here.
It's
just
all
like a little
gone
bit of a
wrong.
desperation. Can anybody touch? Spectral,
Yes.
get on.
They're on the Tracer, but not for long. He touches the point, and that is it. Collusion on the D.Va here. One of the first with the San Francisco Shock to try and play the D.Va on a few maps, like Eichenwalder. It looked really good there, but it's nothing but desperation here, and that doesn't come remotely close.
Yeah, so they don't get a tick. Titans, they change up the way they play. As soon as they see both those DPS on the off angle, guess what? They just sprint their tank, Faith, and then also just get Sugar-Free in the mix, right? There's just nothing that they're really too scared of.
Well, they really understand, I think, their win condition here, especially against the Sigma Comp. As soon as you get behind him, or in between him and the rest of his team, he's in deep trouble. It can't be healed necessarily by his back line. And not a lot of mobility on Marjet or Ultraviolet.
No, and you don't exactly want to like turn your back either, right? To as the Sigma behind your shield. So
yeah. It's exploitable for sure. So we'll see the Orisa here instead. Look, you already start with high ground, so I suppose it makes sense. I think Spectre's a little unsure of himself because playing the Echo into the Soldier seems like a very bad idea when Soldier can wrap around the left side and punish you. Let's see how this went down for Faith. So here's the accretion, catches Lenny instead. No, we're just shooting Cheerios.
Yeah.
No, I don't get it. He's the GOAT. I won't hear any argument.
Yeah. Just run them down.
Again, Faith obviously is someone who's played. He's only played Brig and Lucio, essentially, and some Mercy, right? So all of those heroes, he's been able to express his skill on a really high level. So it's another great year for this guy, and he's hoping for a playoff showing, Matt.
And I mean, the Orisa is so difficult to take out during that. The Genji can go just dash through, start getting those dash resets. It's really difficult to make anything happen. So see how the Titans actually, they want to get like a position that's, they're just having a few players go on the flank. Oh, they get a DMAC though, that's huge.
Yeah, Punk.
They do get 2 players through underneath the bridge. I don't know who's exactly back there, but...
Is it Sugar-Free and Faith together? So what's the plan here?
Well, this is weird because you don't have the speed boost now for anybody else, but...
Yeah, but I mean, you maybe not need it. You have Soldier Legs and D.Va rocket boosters. It's just Crimzo that has to use the walking cane. He's already set up.
He also could just touch the point, right? To just kind of force some players back. Yeah, Punk walks.
Let's see how this plays out. Kaluja's seen better days here. Tyrant's already been removed. Okay, that's a good start. Slow and steady wins the race. Just one tick you need. Crimzo wins out against Spectra. I think he challenged him. A sleep dart, I think, that's on cooldown right now. Crimzo wins out against the Tracer, and that might be all you need. You've lost Punk, to be fair. Your ultimates aren't really building up. You need to figure this out. You got a minute now.
I just don't really love the D.Va here into this Orisa. It just does not seem to really be working. As Hydron takes out Heesang, it's just so much damage that Punk is taking early on. He's just not even able to make it like to the point, pretty much. So you'll have a nano for Crimzo. Do you use this on the Sugar-Free? I mean, Punk is taking so much damage. You have to consider it. But
you can make an argument for Punk, certainly.
Sugar-Free could totally end it, though, with a good nano.
Kaluj here with the bio here. Here we go, Sugar-Free going to go in with the nano. Who's he looking for? The Orisa to start with is going to be hit by the captain. Summer can he chase down the Ilari? No! Martin's going to finish him off with that proc, but Punk trades at least. Heesang finds Ultraviolet, but Hydron is deep behind enemy lines. He's hit with the bio, so he bides his time. I think Crimzo knows his goose. Oh my goodness! Crimzo wins out! He finishes it with a melee! And they're just built different, the Vancouver Titans. They come out on top of Numbani, and it goes to the wire. But another successful outing for this West Coast squad.
And you can see on the Defiant's faces, they just looked stunned that this is like the scenario that they're in. A nail biter there on Numbani goes all the way down to the wire in OT. They end up losing that, but now they find themselves down 2-0. Going into Flashpoint, which obviously our newest mode in the pool, like you have some wild results, right?
Yeah, I mean, the map pick might not mean all that much for the Defiant on a map where they're, or a mode rather, when they're still really trying to work things out, presumably. Look, Kalush looked great on the Sigma here. This was Vancouver's attempt to try and get behind him and work away his backline. Some moments from Faith here, really impressive stuff. That kill is just, I mean, I don't know what to say. That is just beautiful. Hydron just eats those Cheerios and is indisposed for a while after that. Stunning work. The nano visors for Heesang, pretty huge as well.
I mean, just not having a support ultimate, right? Just frees them up to use the nano in so many different ways. And same with Sound Barrier. Like, they're not incredibly worried about any of the ultimates coming back the other way in terms of just damage outputs. So it allows them to get pretty open in terms of how they can use some of these big support ultimates, which have ultimately turned the tide.
We question the diva pick here for the Vancouver Titans, but Punky knows better apparently. So I guess here's the question: what's the pick here? You got obviously you've got two choices. Both of them are Flashpoint maps, and both of them have pitfalls in a similar way. I guess the question is like
better like flank angles. Like I was going to say, Serve. Yeah, Serve.
You have to play Lucio though. So the Defiant are one of the teams that haven't played much Lucio on Flashpoint maps, and I think that's been a disadvantage. They use Hydron on these aggressive, wide, premeditated flanks, and that doesn't always work out either. So I'm curious to see how the evolution for the Defiant on these Flashpoint maps has played out. They're going to need something special here, otherwise they're on a one-way trip down, and we'll see the Titans advance. Stick around, of course, our third map in this series, not the T-pose that Hydron was hoping to strike on this map.
I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the. Wake up, get out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the.
Yeah, I hear him chatting the noise. And stop for the talking. Like fire on the pine. If you wanna touch me, I'm please.
The Alari Baptiste support line. A relic of the past or the ticket to a bright future for the Toronto Defiant? That's the question we had coming into this series, and it's one of the things, Matt, that our experts were very high on. A reason why so many expected to see a strong showing from the Defiant in this series. But so far, it has been anything but. And someone we got very excited about over the last map has this man on your screen. Faith has been a consistent producer over his entire career in the Overwatch League, never looking to take the spotlight. But I mean, we had no choice but to give him some love here. What a great showing on Numbani. 11-7.
Yeah, 11 final blows there from a Lucio is wild, right? I know we talked about like how good Surmajed's numbers have been on the Ilari, which obviously a completely different hero. But Faith is getting so aggressive, moving in with Punk and just finishing off these kills.
I simp for him. Simple as that. It's been a great showing so far. And again, the expression of a great Lucio really comes to the fore, I think, on a Flashpoint game type, right? It's not as simple as, hey, this hero lets your team get back into the fight and take more fights. No, it's about, you know, the environmental kill potential, the timing when it comes to sound barriers, you know, how it comes to speeding your team into these engagements and picking your spots. He and Punk, man, they are on the same wavelength, and it shows.
Not running the Lucio here, though, could really hurt the Defiant.
I feel like they have to. Which one of them is a Lucio player? Like, I think we saw Margit have a stint on Lucio, right? And I believe he was very aggressive and very like high damage output, but a lot of deaths. A lot of deaths.
Yeah, but it seems like their kind of comp and everything is built around him on the Ilari. Like you could never move him off of that, right? Yeah. I mean, for sure.
And maybe like that's the feast or famine game you play, that it's very performance dependent on an individual scale. We've seen that flashes of it from Sumarchit, but a lot of these captive sons have just gone Punk's way. I think we saw one of them on Crimzo and he was able to get that kill. It's very hard. The Titans, their composition is so dispersed, Matt. They've got 2 flankers, for God's sake.
Well, they fall back on a comp, the Defiant, something that they kind of ran at the start of Control, right? You know, they tried to run this Torbjorn to make it a little bit easier to kind of keep, you know, some of the backline alive. It didn't work out. They get a sleep on the Hydron. That was a sleep at the start. I think it was Crimzo just pre-firing.
Zip him up, baby!
And hits him.
At that range as well. He knows where Hydron is going to be. And that's not the first time we've seen a super long-range sleep dart get followed up on like that. He's saying made a beeline for that kill. Faith got it in the end.
There is something for obviously like, you know, momentum, right? And to be down and to try and like, hey, we had to pick ourselves back up and then start the map like that is brutal.
Oh my god. Oh man. All right, I'm glad we got to see the chat there for a moment.
Wait,
that was fun.
His response to
you're Canadian.
You're Canadian.
Yeah.
as he's looking for the Defiant.
Does that qualify for humor in the United States? Or not? Is that a gotcha?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
I just thought it was a hilarious response of.
Because it's a New Yorker thing, I suppose. All right. The Titans did their loose Punk early in that fight. And it ends up being a wash. The Defiant are able to really start to tick this percentage up as well. Now they can set up a Torb turret in a position that will punish anyone dropping down from that platform there. You're Canadian. Okay. Got him. Got him.
And to be clear, Crimzo is the one who's Canadian.
Yeah. But I get it. Either way, Ultraviolet Spectre, not Canadian, but they are dead.
Oh. You see, he's saying actually, like, Hydron knew exactly where he was, and he just came out of the corner there and just picked off a player, like a half of a second.
There's a whole separate sub-game happening between Hydron and Heesang. Yeah, like, and we've seen it at times over the course of these last few maps, but now we're really going to see it here. Heesang is going to be constantly looking for him.
Is it enough if Heesang just, like, annoys him, right? Just doesn't allow Hydron to just go on these like free flanks and just do like tons of damage to the front line. I feel like it almost is.
Yes, because you have a Torb that's supposed to be anti-flank to some degree. So you're already using like a hero who can try and answer that, right? Great deflect timing there. It has to be a deflect. The blade is not going to be able to connect with Margit there. He gets up into the sky, but Ultraviolet's been taken down, so you're struggling. Margit can't be doing any left clicking right now. It has to be the heals, and it's just not really enough. Hydron, though, okay, the attack visor here is a pretty big deal. Terra Surge, Kalu's going to be very, very low here, and Punk is going to be able to run him down, but they've lost Heesang. How do you work with this as the Titans? I think you don't. I think you're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I think you're in a lot of trouble here. As it looks like Punk may be able to get out for a split second. Faith is here as well. As should be the Defiants who take this first point, although there's one player on the point. Sugar Free, he will fall. So yeah, Defiant battle back.
The blade there for Sugar Free, not able to find any value, or much at least. It's tough. I mean, he was looking straight at Sir Margit, but you can... What's crazy about Captive Sun is that you can fly after you fire the projectile for the whole duration of the ability. It's so powerful.
He actually like got a swing, I think, into Ultraviolet, and then he dropped the Immortality Field. And then I think he heard the Captive Sun go off, and I think he turned and went from a jet. I almost feel like he should have just kept going. I think he would have got the kill on Ultraviolet.
He deflected because he was on the wrong side of the amp matrix from the rest of the Defiant, but he couldn't bait out an early Captive Sun, I think. Great Bionade, another big one from Crimzo. That's the Ana difference. Here comes a Molten Core. Behave yourselves. Spectre gets speared backwards here as Punk now trying to take some space, moves up to the planter. Ultraviolet's been picked off already. He's the goat.
I mean, Faith, he's just running around, just causing chaos.
Yeah, definitely accept no more Faith slander at this point. No one is ever hypercritical of Faith. He just never works his way into conversations about, like, best in his role. But, I mean, here he's right up there, I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's played phenomenal in this series. He's going to go get Crimzo, bring him back into the action. And they're going to have double support ult here for this next fight. So
a little late here.
He's saying going to give them some info. Yeah.
He's saying he's hoping to get challenged here, but that's not going to happen. So he'll be out of the fight for a little bit. Okay. He's going to struggle to take that high ground. He's got a 1 versus 2 on his hands. Faked again. He found Spectra. Finishes off the kill with the boot. Kalu's forced well back and is not looking healthy at all. The turret taken out by Margit, or for Margit, and there's a blade on deck for Sugar Free.
Well, you know what it is? They like, what they do is they're playing right now, they're like with like Punk, Faith, and Sugar Free. As soon as they see like a player that's a little bit like out or maybe like a little bit off on a flank in a bad spot, they just run him down. What is he gonna get?
Sugar Free might die here.
Oh yeah, he's gonna die.
That was gorgeous. The response was fantastic, and Ultraviolet was able to stay alive under an extreme amount of pressure. That was Sugar Free and Faith both ulting in that fight. Great time for the Defiant to come back in.
So they've just been using the Captive Sun, it seems like, as a reaction to Blade, right? Like, even that time, I think Sugar Free has the benefits of the sound barrier, and he just explodes there after taking that big lethal damage. So it'll be 99% though for the Titans. Two fights here.
Oh man.
He's got a visor now, too.
I mean, Margit also not in a position to help his team. Kalu slept and Ultraviolet's low inside his own Immortality Field. Here comes Attack Visor, though. First target is that healing turret. And in the meantime, it's tough times for the Vancouver Titans. They lose faith in Punk in that fight. And this is the risk you take by being that flank player. Sometimes you're not there when you need to be. They might lose another point here, the Titans.
I mean, they very much might. As they lose Hydron again. I think Heesang kills him off a spawn. Heesang's just looking for spawn kills here, saying, hey, I'll go take out Hydron.
They have no Ana.
Finish this off.
It's just Faith right now for the Titans. Here's the Molten Core from Spectra. Hard for Punk to stand around for this, but Spectra is taken down. They're buying time. Crypto's now got a sight line on his tank, but he couldn't get Punk alive. The timing didn't quite favor him, but he delivers a nano. Sugar Free does not have a play, but he's saying he's going to get rid of the deployables for the time being. It's the attack visor from Hydron, though. It was hard to answer, but Face sends him over the edge. It's not enough, though. Another point given up by the Titans, despite starting so strong.
Yeah, they get off to these fantastic starts on these points and then just not able to finish them off as Heesang going on.
He's a rat. Oh, this could be bad. He's waiting. Sneaky beaky like. He hears the footsteps, but he also knows there's a Torbjorn in his vicinity. Has he got too cute about this? Maybe. Hydron can opt out of this fight. And he's saying on the outside.
This feels like he's gotten too in love with this play, and look at where everybody else is at. And
we don't see this though. Like before Flashpoint, we don't see this style of play. Maybe the start of Overwatch 2. Oh, I don't know what happened there with Sugar Free. Kalu's able to find it with a fusion driver as he tried to wrap back around the corner. Here's the Captive Sun. Crimzo is on deck. And here comes the reverse Icarus. The sun comes to you.
Hudge misses those shots on a Crimzo, so Crimzo end up not falling there.
Yeah, he stays alive. Fate getting close to a sound barrier here. He's saying he's able to get Spectra posthumously, so it ends up being a trade of kills. But the Defiant took the point first now, and the Titans need to extend a bit further into a commanding position. Here comes the sound barrier, here comes the blade, and here come the crew. The Vancouver Titans are light onto the points, and they'll have it back in their favor, but not after losing Sugar Free, which is a big deal.
Here's Punk with the spear spin, just knocking Kaluj right into Sugar Free's face there. As do you get the point back though?
He's so annoyed.
Heesang's still on a journey here, you know, just going on these long flanks, you know, trying to spawn kill. That's something we thought would happen, you know, maybe at the beginning of Flashpoint with the players, you know, being able to get behind. Spawn kill maybe on like the Tracer, Genji, or Sombra, but you know, not on 76 is all. Heesang takes a huge Helix rocket there.
Yeah, gotta be careful. There's a fine line between a good flank and then being in a 1 versus 2 there. Blade
They nano Sugar Free in response.
Yeah, no blade, sorry, but Crimson dominates Hydron, he's just better! Build a little gift, that's not the first time he's won the 1 versus 1. Yeah, sit, he says. How is your Canadian supposed to be an insult? Eat this Bionade, tell me what you think about it. Locally grown. Distilled from maple syrup, baby. Sit down.
Oh man, that is a huge turn of events there, and what looked like, you know, you get that first pick onto Heesang, maybe you're able to take it. Now he's got attack visor, he's back in the fight. He can like ward them off here from touching the point.
Heesang very low in health. He has to run away.
So low.
It's okay though, the Defiant are backing up. Heesang has some time to get healed. The era of Heesang is over. The era of Dimsang is about to begin. Attack visor here, mostly towards Kaluj, but the Titans got the point. That's what was important here. I mean, Kaluj just staving off all comers, and Margit found 2 kills, but it's a little superfluous. They can get to the point and maybe start in control, but they'd already lost that Flashpoint.
Yeah, let's see how this kind of plays out, right? With 2 stagger kills towards the end of that fight now, going into this next one. Looks like the only person who's going to get there early is Hydron. And still 10 seconds before the point even unlocks. So it's really not going to, you know, hurt the Titans at all.
Bionade on Margit here. Unperturbed for the most part is the Defiance Ilari. There's another flank. The healing turret's already down. Yeah, that Torb turret's an issue, and there's a multi-core now onto the point. Oh, he's midway through. Crimzo, he's so good. Able to shut down the Torb ultimate, but the Defiant have a commanding position. Over the top goes Margit. This is scary, but I heard attack visor pop up for Hydron. Big ultimates coming out for the Toronto Defiant now. The Titans have to huddle for safety. There was an attempted a sleep dart there for Crimzo. Lightning doesn't always strike twice. And Hydron again staved off Heesang. Here's a play though. The Titans stayed alive through both of those ultimates. Now can they come back into the fight? Margit is down. Sugar Free found the 1 kill. Punk's in a bit of a scary spot right now. He's at risk of going over the edge, but he's able to position himself so Kaluj can't knock him off, and he's there to catch Ultraviolet when he falls. And off the point will go Kaluj. It'll be the Titans looking to take it to a 5th Flashpoint.
Oh man, they had to use a ton to be able to take it though, right? Blade, sound barrier to try and keep, you know, the back line alive.
Yeah.
Crimzo's got a nano, so do you nano Sugar Free? I think maybe you try and like, if you can nano Sugar Free and he catches like Hydron and Surma Jet out here on the side, like, I feel like he's going to be able to take both those players out with the way he's played today.
Hydron has the drop on Heesang here, I think. Okay, no, they're just using their sound. What is this? Okay. Oh my!
The Lucio. They
takes his knee out.
Fate.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if that was the plan. As much as I feel like Faith has been operating as a pseudo DPS player here, this is going to fall apart very quickly for Vancouver, and this is dangerous. You lose a nano for essentially nothing. Your soldier got absolutely clapped at the start of the fight, and now the Defiant have to lead on this 4th Flashpoint.
Yeah, because Sugar Free went in deep there as well, so it looked like potentially you're trying to nano Sugar Free like they've typically done.
Margit?
And then push on in. Surmajet gets slow. Backs up though.
We have an Ant Matrix for
One more
Ultraviolet.
fight, I think.
I think you're right. Terror Surge up for Punk. Ultraviolet, it's a self-Ant Matrix here. The Titans able to occlude themselves for the most part. Faith wants an environmental kill. Spectra knows it. He's going to give up his life for that one. That might have been a critical error. Here's the Terror Surge. Kaluj is able to walk away. And here comes the Immortality field now. Molten Core to try and seal the deal. It's attack visor from Heesang, but it looks like that Ant Matrix got in his way, and so Margit finishes off the kill. A convincing fight win, a convincing map win here for the Toronto Defiant as they stay alive in a crucial series.
Yeah, and a map they desperately needed. Just some small mistakes there from the Titans. Specifically, you don't get that nano over to Sugarfree. He's been so good with it on the Genji. So they had one of those situations, right, where Majed and Hydron are off to the side flanking. You had potentially an advantage there on the front side, and a huge difference between nanoing the Genji and nanoing the Lucio.
A lot of exciting interplay between the two Soldier 76 players. We're also getting reminded why the Ilari Baptiste setup works so well. So Majed, 11 final blows on that map, tied with Hydron's 11. Acting as another DPS player, where that's what you need in so many of these fights. The Defiant have that extra pushing power to win in the 5 versus 5. Couple close ones, but I've got to say the backline of Toronto were rock solid here. Some crucial immortality builds from Ultraviolet. Very nicely played and making this series very competitive. Crimson, I mean, yeah, again, having moments to shine. The backline of the Titans continue to impress us. This was beautiful, though. Hydron eventually figuring Hee-Sang out on these constant flank battles.
Yeah, I thought, you know, even the Torbjorn, right? Like, do you think it like won the game, right? Playing this Torbjorn versus like the Echo or Tracer, like probably not the hugest difference in terms of you know, winning or losing the map, but I thought it was definitely effective. I thought it was definitely one of the best looks they've shown today.
Let's talk our 4th map in this series. It's a Vancouver Titans pick here. Esperanza is what I'm expecting to see coming up for our push map. Could go thematic, of course. Let's drop it. New Queen Street coming up. How fitting for a series like this. And I guess the Vancouver Titans were like nothing more than to serve up an L to Toronto on what could be considered their home map. It's push up next, everybody. New Queen Street could be a decider. It's either a Titans win or a map 5 extravaganza to steal Zoe's verbiage. So stick around. More to come from our last series of the day. Well, this series just got 100% more interesting. Zuravasa, we finally see the Toronto Defiant display their game plan and why it's worked so well for them. It's something unique to this team, but not every team has Surmajet.
Yeah, he is the real reason, why they're successful kind of playing this style of play. It's because he's doing serious damage on the Illari, being able to, as we saw Faith with 11 final blows, we said that was a lot that previous round, right? Like, this is a lot of damage and final blows, just kind of like kill contribution happening from the support role.
I think it's important to point out how crucial having an Illari to play from the front line or from within the main fight is when you have a Soldier 76 that's often not here, at least not at the start of the fights. Yeah. Because Hydron is off trying to keep Hisang in check. So not always alone, but quite often in a 1 versus 1. So having an alternate source of damage from your backline that's really very consistent and also offers a ridiculous amount of healing through the pylon and also that extra impulse via Captive Sun. Very, very effective strategy, especially on Flashpoint. And it seems like it's enough to overcome the lack of Lucio, the lack of mobility that we kind of speculated could hurt teams that go for the double flex support backline here.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw them use that Captive Sun in a more defensive manner that round, right? Like, every time that Sugar Free would go to Blade, they would just shoot it at him as soon as he dashed in, right? I know he's not going to deflect. He's, like, going for Ultraviolet. He gets hit with a Captive Sun from behind. You put down enough damage, you're able to just kind of, like, finish him off before he can even really get huge value out of it. So, Surmajet looking pretty good on the Illari. I think also, as we move to New Queen Street, I think one of the things we saw the last time, or we've seen it recently where Toronto has played this map, they actually play Sigma on this map. So curious if that was one of the things that maybe the Titans have seen.
I'm glad you bring that up because that's also something we saw on Numbani, and that's something that Toronto wanted to play to. Right? They chose that map. They said, we want to try and make this Sigma work. And at times it looked pretty good. Defensively, though, it definitely suffered because we saw a more mobile composition that featured D.Va. And of course, the constant threat of the Genji pressuring your backline seemed like it was a little bit challenging for the Toronto Defiant to deal with. But I think it's the best look for Kalush. He's made it pretty clear that he loves playing the Sigma, and this team does things their own way. We're talking about a team, by the way, that ends the season 8-8 with like a 0 map differential, so perfectly balanced, perfectly mid, as was sort of pointed out. But they have a chance here to just cast that aside and go above and beyond now in a match like this in these play-ins.
Yeah, I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Obviously, the regular season is the regular season, but like as long as you get into the playoffs, like who ultimately like cares what happened? Like that's like the kind of thing that I think players in these types of scenarios in play-ins, like, hey, we do good enough to get it to this point of play-ins, right? Which like most teams make it into play-ins, but ultimately you win 3 games, right? You certain winners. You're in, right? Like this is like a whole new kind of season type of feel to it, right? Where like nothing really matters what happened in those first 16 games.
You might as well be 0-0. 3. Do you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Here's your play-in bracket for the West play-ins, and of course this is double elimination format. So we have our teams battling it out in match number 4. There you can see the winner advances to take on the ferocious Boston Uprising. The loser will drop down to play the San Francisco Shock, who've got to have a fire in their bellies after being handed a bit of a shocking L from that London Spitfire squad. There's a chance we get another rematch here between these two teams in that lower bracket. If one advances, loses to Boston, the other makes their way through lowers here. There are still many, many quality teams in this bracket. And of course, let's not forget who's awaiting them. Not only the best in the East, but of course, like your Houston Outlaws, your Atlanta Reign, some very frightening teams, the Florida Mayhem on the other end of it here. So the Western region starting to build to a fever pitch. And what these two teams do in this series, in this map, could dictate their future from here on out.
Yes, we'll get a chance here on New Queen Street to see what the Defiant run. You could they could run that Sigma. I think probably. Hey, you've been playing the Orisa. You just won with the Orisa. Like maybe just ride it out. I think that's also a possibility.
New Queen Street. Again, I just want to bring up what you said before. Like the prospect of Sigma is a real one, right? Now, we're not dealing with a map like Numbani that has this rather oppressive high ground to play into, which I feel like necessitated Punk playing the D.Va. What do you play into this if you're Punk and you don't necessarily want to match Sigmas here? Is there a way that you can actually just punish that pick on a more flat map like this?
It wouldn't be like matching the Sigma. I think they'd probably go back and play some of that Diva or even the Orisa. Just there's no point to get into like a bit of a poke battle with a team who's probably going to run something that has a better version of that poke.
Yeah. I mean, you can't ask for much more, right? A Soldier, the Illari, with their Baptiste behind the Sigma. It's very hard to craft a composition that sets your main tank up for success, or sets your tank up for success. That doesn't involve trying to mirror that and sort of win against a comp that you probably think your opponents are more practiced on. So, like you said, it's the Orisa start here for the Vancouver Titans. We'll continue to have Hisang and Hydron battle it out for flank supremacy, and off they go to their marks.
Yeah, and it is the Sigma composition here for the Toronto Defiant. So, taking some high ground, taking some off angles on the Sigma, right? Really kind of playing around kills first and then the objective second.
The paradigm is different though to Numbani. The way the game type works, vastly different as well. And we know that Defiant struggled on defense with the Sigma comp once the Titans got going on Numbani. They had a time bank extension by, they had a lead of like 1 minute and 9 seconds. But here and now is what matters. Punk is going to be hit by that accretion here. Keep an eye on those backliners' health bars. That's what the Defiant are looking to try and work down. Kaluj will be forced out of position here. Punk really wants a bit of a one-on-one with the man.
You see how different Orisa is, right? Can just get that spear spin, get right up in the opponent's face, especially with that Fortify, as Spectra here takes out Punk. So 2 kills early on go in favor of the Defiant, and now let's get the bot moving.
How important in that fight is losing Faith early?
I mean, he's the one who enables really Punk to get in deep. And look at this. But Punk played the Doom Fist here, so we saw him go to it like in a last-second ditch scenario, but now we'll get a good look at Punk's Doom.
Something that gives you some elements of dive, I suppose, with the ability to not have to rely fully on verticality. It seems a little speculative, though. I'm going to be honest with you. Hisang also gets picked off at the start of the fight, so it's a bit of a horrific start for the Vancouver Titans now. Hydron doused by a bionic grenade and won't peek until that's expired, but he's still in a strong flank angle, and Crimzo needs to watch himself.
Yes, Sugar Free will get the benefits of the Nano here, and that gets the amplification matrix out. So
Faith
they get immortality field, they get the matrix out, but yeah, they lose Faith again. So man, this is a brutal start for the Titans.
Is this a reverse sweep in the making? The Vancouver Titans look absolutely listless on this map to start with, and the Doomfist doesn't seem to have improved their odds.
Well, we don't even know, I would say, if the Doomfist improves their odds, because they've just been getting picked off like one by one solo as they've been moving forward.
Last time it was Ultraviolet who was able to pick up Faith. Potentially through that Amp Matrix, in fairness. A blade here from Lenny might be what's needed. Ultraviolet, yep, we knew there'd be an immortality field forced out here. Punk wanted to dive on that as well, but he gets taken down by Kaluj. There might have been an accretion there. What do you do in Power Block about that rock coming your way?
This has been real ugly, as you know, maybe it's the kind of like slower Torbjorn type of setup. Maybe it's been like adjusting the way that Hydron's taking these flanks and not as hyper aggressive, but it feels like something's changed here recently, you know, in this series, because the Defiant feel like they have all the control now.
The swagger, the brash confidence the Titans entered the series in and flexed on those first couple of maps seems but a memory of the past. Now they're running scared. Here's the dive again from Sugar Free. This time it's good. The Nano Boost helps him get that purchase. Gravitic Flux we're holding on to as Crimzo backs around the corner. He's caught inside that with that Soldier. Hisang can't get away either. Kaluj is really starting to twist the knife in the back. And what can Punk do now without many teammates to work with? Faith gets himself on the kill feed at the very least here. Kaluj gets punished. Faith gets involved alongside Punk. Finally some relief for the beleaguered Titans.
I mean, even then, right? You get that you win that fight. I mean, you are so far behind, you know, 80 meters. So that's the checkpoint, and then obviously a really good amount after that. And then now the Defiant, because of this, they have an opportunity, like, hey, if they want to switch Kaluj off of this to kind of counter this, like,
what?
Doom, so be it. As Hydron has found Crimzo.
This game has been dictated by these first picks, and every one of them has gone in favor of the Toronto Defiant so far. Attack Visor from this angle? I can't say that's advisable. That felt awful. Let's not do that again.
That's because it was awful. I mean, not ideal in terms of the visor.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, he's saying. Still can't escape the turret. Looks onto you, mate. Sorry. Now, this is a stinker. Pure and simple. Hydron threatening Punk there. turns around and gives him a quick punch. Tries to keep him honest. A flanking turret set up. How frustrating that Sugar Free has to clear that up. This should be a kill though.
Oh, nice sleep.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there from Crimso. Our supports on the Titan side are coming alive at times. Oh my goodness! You're Canadian. Who's Canadian now, bro?
I mean, Punk is not Canadian. Punk is Australian.
I just love it.
But I mean,
maple syrup to go with the pancake, maybe?
You're gonna need to rattle off like 3-4 fights in a row, it feels like here. And the way that the Defiant got it were like quite like cheap in a way, right? And the fact that like they got like 3 early picks in a fight, and you know, hey, 4 on 5, you feel pretty good if you're the 5.
Yeah, the ultimate economy at that point didn't really matter. Now, though, it might start to become a factor once more. Captive Sun catches Sugar Free, but he'll be able to hide until that expires. Presumably. Kalu's trying to operate here from this high ground. He will stall the bot from here. It's a very strong position, so Punk trying to shift him off, but no one's going to move the cart in the meantime. Faith with the beat, tries to come around the corner. It looks good. It allows Punk to stay inside this room, but a Gravitic Flux is a scary prospect. Yep, that's nasty stuff. Margin able to find Faith, but Ultraviolet is taken down by Sugar Free, who stays alive after that Sigma ult came down. And the Vancouver Titans now starting to get a sniff of the cheese, but again it's Hydron, constantly cutting them down from behind.
Yeah, it feels like Hydron is really winning this soldier duel at the moment, where he's been constantly getting these off angles and being able to get these picks. And even in a fight where it looks like the Titans are doing pretty well, it ends up, ending with Hydron being able to pick some players off from the side.
Hydron is still in a very advanced flanking position here. Notice him crouching for a brief moment, but Hysang did sniff him out. He could smell freedom, I guess. They managed to find him. 3 players clobber Hydron. They will give up a little bit of progress now, but the pick is what's important.
Okay, so now that but can they get any progress off of this? I feel like at the end of this fight, you need at least a checkpoint.
Attack-wise is good here.
Kind of be competitive. Yeah.
Very good. All right, we saw Hysang there explode, and Sugar Free now starting to clean the fight up. Remember, we're still a long way off pace. A long way off pace if you're Vancouver. Sugar Free has a dash reset. Here he didn't have a deflect, but he's able to get out of there alive anyway. And now we're close to a checkpoint. Blade in hand for Sugar Free wants to force the issue with Nano Boost. Should mean the Titans can get there.
So do you need the Nano on the Blade? Can you Nano Punk? And then see kind of how it goes?
I like it.
The Blade, I mean...
You get the checkpoint anyway. You're close enough, and we are going to be a Nano Blade here. They're going to extend further. They get the checkpoint. And there's not a lot that Kalush can do about that one.
Also another really good safe option, right? The further you push the payload back as well, the worse sight lines that Hydron is going to have, and the less flanking angles he can take, right? And not many ways to kind of wrap around here. So the deeper the payload gets, the better. You don't have any ultimates coming in this fight, so you're really relying on a first blood.
Molten Core coming out now. It's going to be Hysang with the accretion. Sugar Free dashing out of trouble. A chance for the Defiant to surge forward here. The Vancouver Titans, they've got much to do in this fight. I'm going to be honest with you. They're going to have to be happy with 71 meters.
Yeah, it looks like they're just kind of like flooding in, right? Just maybe trying to build up some ults and, they end up giving it up as... Ooh.
Okay.
Thought he was going to fall off there for a
little Lucio parkour. Never any doubt. Okay, Sugar Free is a little late here. Hydron has the flank angle that will be uncontested by Hysang. He has eyes elsewhere. This could be scary. Because Hydron here has attack available. One hit, he'll pop it straight away. Hysang inside the biotic field. Hydron gonna go for it now. He stays back a little bit. It looked like a lot of damage going Hysang's way, and Sugar Free is also low. This is scary stuff. The flank pays off. The Toronto Defiant win this fight comfortably. And now they're gonna be knocking on the spawn doors.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be moving this one dangerously close to the end of the map for the Titans. Is a 2-0 lead in this series could evaporate so fast. It's the Defiant so close to closing this one out.
Punk constantly being harassed by that Torp turret. He is the Captain Sun. That Hysang getting caught by that one. Spectre able to find a headshot though. Ultimately a superfluous ability from Margin, but it doesn't matter. The Defiant had the player advantage. Meteor Strike drops on the Ilari, but Margin is able to get away from that impact. Hydron drops to the low ground too, but Punk found someone. It was Spectre. He'll have to offer himself up as a trade though. A mere burnt offering now is with 45 seconds in the round. The Defiant are about to finish the map. A couple meters left here, and Toronto say we want ourselves a map 5. I cannot believe it's come to this. Faith going to get dropped there by Hydron, and Kalu's going to get easily topped up by Marjed now. What a way to make a statement before the 5th. We're going all the way, folks.
Oh man, as they just get the Titans get absolutely battered there on push. That is a Titans map pick as well, so they take us to New Queen Street. They get absolutely dominated on Toronto's home turf.
Sugar Free had a great map, 13 final blows, 4 deaths. Hisang ends the map with not a single final blow. 0 and 10 for Hisang. Hydron, conversely, 10 and 4. I don't want to point fingers,
yeah,
man. I don't want to point fingers. I'm just giving the facts.
Well, look, it doesn't really, like, that obviously doesn't tell, like, the entire story, right? I mean, you were just getting the constant first blood every single time for the Titans. Nobody really got an opportunity to have a great fight or a chance to fight, right? So I think you just kind of got, I think if you're the Titans, you just got to throw that one out. Had a really terrible, map, and hopefully for their sake, right? Try and win this final one.
Hey, I'm curious about the new Queen Street choice in the end. It's a good Sigma map for the Defiant. You could have gone for Esperanza. Maybe there's an opportunity there to have a stronger setup and make use of your hit scan players. But here it is. Escort is going to be our final map in this series. What'll it be? Is it a Route 66 kind of series? No. Dorado will be the final battleground in this Battle for Canada. The reverse sweep underway by the Toronto Defiant. It's all up to the Titans to put it to bed after this. In this battle of regional rivals, there's more on the line than just sovereignty of the Great White North. The chance to take on the Boston Uprising for your ticket to playoffs is on the line, and the Toronto Defiant have pushed the Vancouver Titans to their very limits, bringing us into a decider map.
Oh man, it looked like at the beginning of this series, right? All this momentum is with the Titans. It looked like they had figured out, a lot of kind of like how to stop what the Defiant are throwing at them. And man, is that flipped on its head, right? I think Suravasa was like close, but you look at the last map and that was just an absolute drubbing.
Both these teams enter the play-ins at 8-8, but they couldn't be more different. They're like fire and ice when they hit the server. One team, the Toronto Defiant, making use of Sigma over these last couple of maps to great effect. Very hard for the Vancouver Titans to punish. The Titans, however, opting for much more of this Orisa-based gameplay, but the key factor in this series has been the flanking efficacy of Hydron versus Heesang. And in that last map, it was the former well and truly coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like high ground here, right? But not a ton of areas or opportunities to flank. So maybe you eliminate some of that here, with the Titans picking this map. See what Toronto on defense will actually come out with Kaluj on the Diva. Interesting. So get Kaluj on the Diva and Hydron playing that Widowmaker. He is fantastic on that hero.
He always gives us a show. I think the most exciting player on this map this year has definitely been Merit. We saw him play this fantastic Widowmaker showing. He definitely hit that flow state and made that hero look like a must pick in almost every situation. But the fact is, it's really here on Dorado where she finds her greatest impact. You can play these long sight lanes from fairly safe positions. And Hydron now wants to put the final nail in the coffin in this matchup between him and Heesang. Win the Widow duel to take his team to victory.
And these would be completely different comps than what we've seen over the course of the series, right? Not many consistent.
Dangerous!
Oh, well, I mean, a trade happens.
Oh, he's a little better though. Off the starter's mark is Hydron finding Heesang. Both teams lose their echoes, yes. It'll be a bit of a walk back for Spectra. But for the time being, the Defiant will hold their ground.
Yeah, but Hydron just gets a sick angle there. I mean, able to take out two players right off the rip. So, dude, it's so dangerous playing these echoes into the Widowmaker. I mean, Echo has better mobility in the sky than Pharah, obviously, but still just floats to the ground very slowly.
This is a difficult angle to get a Widow out of. You have to commit to this high ground in order to do so. Heesang is spotted across the map. Hydron aware. Here comes Punk to try and clear that corner of the Widow. It would give Heesang a chance to advance his position across the map. He sees the head there, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Kaluj, though, in the way in this Diva battle.
And what do you think of the Brig here? I mean, I think it's just a little bit way more you wouldn't play Lucio
it's great.
here.
It's really good here, Matt.
Yeah, I like the Diva.
You get free healing off the Diva. You just whip shot her on cooldown to get a free Inspire proc. And there's a lot of close quarters fighting. Hydron there, getting a free haircut. He'll be forced to drop to the low ground. And Faith is an incredible Brig player. He is so good at Brig. Sugar Free, though, slept there by Ultraviolet. Is there going to be follow-up? You got Nato, who might be able to survive this. Yes, hiding for the time being behind the fountain. He's going to get another bite at the apple by the looks of things. And he's seen Hydron. The sticky bombs were perfect. He knew he was dead to rights. There's a focus beam here for Marched. And yes, Sugar Free bides his time until he gets a bit of extra poke damage. Those were a couple of very impactful kills here. Self-destruct by Kaluj. Punk also going for the same strategy here. It's Heesang needing to find a kill in the next few moments. Otherwise, this Echo of Spectre will be too much to handle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just not enough, right? I mean, you've lost Punk out of his next huge bio grenade there by Ultraviolet, connected like from a really far distance. So that kind of ends that. This is getting scary here for the Titans. A minute and 30 on the clock. It's not like you have any of these big, game-winning ultimates on your side, right? No Dragon Blade, no anything, no even like a sound barrier, right? To just kind of push on through them.
What a world we live in.
You're really relying on these Widowmakers.
A world where Sigma reigns supreme, where we have a diva head-to-head, and the phrase "you're Canadian" is considered pejorative. Don't know how we got here in this series, but these two teams giving us something special. Sugar Free with a dupe here. It's going to be another diva on the field. He's going to go straight for Spectra. Eaten alive by the focusing beam, though, and a self-destruct to clear that room. Now the Defiant are forced to play back behind this arch. Sugar Free wants an elimination with this mech. I can understand why. It'll even get to use some of that defense matrix to limit Spectra's impact. It's going to be a dupe from Spectra to try and stay alive. A Bionade thrown in Hydron's direction, forcing him off that sight line too. Spectra, no chance to build a self-destruct, and Sugar Free's causing problems now. The card, 0.54 meters away. Spectra with a remake to try and touch to stall things out. He'll be able to do so, but eventually the Titans will get that checkpoint.
I mean, the Titans, their best course of action is just the nanos on the Sugar Free and just let him go after it. As I know a few times Hydron actually, I don't know if you saw it, I think it was Hydron and Spectra. I know both kind of like, Hydron actually connected on a shot, and the Sugar Free got really low, forced out. Just to him get out of like the way really early on, but then also like, yeah, Heesang actually connected on a shot with Spectra, which ended up forcing him to actually use a duplicate. Like he wasn't actually in a position to really use it. He was just 1 HP and just need to get out. Oh, that's a nice angle, but Titans, they needed that fight. I mean, you lose that fight, I mean, this series could very well be over.
Yeah, they would have been ground to a halt. You have to fear. Heesang is up for it. He wants to try and challenge the most obscure angles to get an advantage over Hydron. Grapple away from that incoming biotic grenade to get topped up. He needs to have an impact soon. Here comes Spectra, nano boost in tow. But he doesn't find anything. It's Heesang eventually emerging from that hidey hole across the map to clip Ultraviolet, to take the Ana out of the equation.
Yeah, he gets pinged right away, as I don't think anybody really knew where he was. Spectra gets one for the road there. Takes out Sugar Free. This will be in for safe for both teams, and they actually have a Jin out on the side. Oh yeah, they're gonna get him. This is huge.
The defense matrix was good there for Kaluj. He had to know that Heesang was playing it off angle. So the Titans here on the precipice of a second checkpoint. Puck soaks a lot of 2 damage, maybe a little too much, but a self-destruct comes out. He can't remech, and everybody can hide. The Defiant now have a chance to emerge. Bait has the shield. It keeps him and Crimzo standing, and Sugar Free's poking from that high ground. You have a duplicate here as the Echo. Hydron gives his position away, and Heesang will abscond.
Man, how odd is that, right? Where Punk drops out at the choke, it looks like that's kind of like in a separated. Kaluj goes by, gets demeked by that, but then he self-destructs as well.
The flanking Sun.
And it forces the healers out of the line of sight of Punk. Yeah, no, here
comes Marjed.
The Sun
announces his presence. Crimzo unclear. There could have been a defense matrix. Eat on that. No. Heesang goes down though. Crimzo not punished either way. Yeah, he's able to stay alive. Hydron is down though. Sugar Free found the Widowmaker and Ultraviolet again. Gets picked off at the start of the fight. Sugar Free, the second Ana for the Vancouver Titans. Now there'll be a self-destruct duped here. Sugar Free doesn't mind though. He's got obviously that extra durability coming out of the dupe. And so the Titans get a second checkpoint now and a much needed 90-second extension.
I mean, he absolutely, Sugar Free does not want to lose this one, as he has played phenomenal on the Echo, and then even the Genji, right? Throughout the earlier portions of the series, but where these Widows are really kind of been playing like, pretty even throughout this, right? A pick here and there from, either one. Hydron got off to a good start. Heesang's found some key picks after that. It's really been the story of the Echoes after that.
Ultraviolet came onto the scene with a 5-player biotic grenade on Eichenwalder under the Atlanta Reign squad as an Ana player. He hasn't played much of it this series, but we know he's up for it. Sugar Free's able to avoid that focusing beam that would have finished him. Gets back behind the pillar and spots Heesang. Quickly jumps away, doesn't fancy that range for that matchup. Nice poison mine.
Gonna deter him back a little bit. They get Kaluj low.
What?
Not like a... Oh.
He was visible to Hydron, I'm sure of it. And then he's able to pop the infrasight and start to dig a little deeper. A double Bionade on the back line of the Titans is unlikely to deter them any further, as Heesang is leading from the front. Here comes Punk, and it will be an infrasight from Hydron, but how is it going to get you out of spawn? You have the Doomfist at the least, but there's no chance to touch outside of that. Doom gets there, but he's hit with the Bionade pretty much straight away, and the Kiriko cannot keep the round going. Vancouver finished with 45 seconds to play.
Just getting the finish there is huge for the Titans, right? Gives themselves a huge buffer. They can now kind of play against this clock, that they kind of have, built up. Nah, man, it was all started there at the end by Heesang. Heesang getting that pick on the Hydron, which we were kind of like laughing, like he sipped on the Venom Mine, like, oh yeah, he's gonna have to like, rotate around and get out of there. And he picks him off right after that.
It must have expired and he had a window. But still, Hydron has to know at least approximately where he's going to be coming from. Winning that out and then obviously doubling down by using that infrasight to give your team perfect information about the defenders. That is incredibly oppressive. Heesang gets to just play from the card. And after a 0 final blow map on New Queen Street, he is 6-3 and he is winning the Widow duel.
Well, I think New Queen Street, I mean, there's some maps you can just kind of throw away. Where that one, I mean, they got, you know, I love, we'll take a look at a replay here. As, let's see how this kind of plays out. As he just comes right around the corner, yeah.
Oh, no.
Nope.
That's absurd. Yep.
That's some sick stuff. You know, the New Queen Street I would just throw out. I mean, how many times at the end of the year do we see like, oh, let's like look at stats and, you know, vote on the best players, and like the stats for the players of the teams that are just dunking on all the others are like just infinitely inflated, where like, you know, you just have to toss some of those maps out. As Heesang has had a really strong series. I think you kind of just got to throw that one out, but Hydron has definitely come on in the later half, I would say.
Now, though, he doesn't get to play that 76 flanking style. He has to find victory as a Widow. But remember, I mean, the Florida Mayhem used to try and pick Gibraltar all the time to leverage this Widow play, and that's why Sugar Free lingers a little too long in those crosshairs. Hydron, though, gets a love tap there, I think, a not fully charged body shot from Heesang. But still, the Titans have to back right on up.
Yeah, and this will be hard on Sugar Free, right? Like, he wants to play aggressive, and he's been so good throughout the series doing that. But here on Dorado, especially going up against a Widowmaker like Hydron, it's going to be really difficult to take those aggressive fights and angles.
Hydron again hoping to catch Sugar Free, clip those wings as he drops. Punk is very low. Crimzo going to be farming a lot of ult, but can't keep the Diva in. Mech can as soon as he's out. Hydron makes sure it's for good.
I mean, this has been an ugly first point for the Titans, right? And think about how hard the Titans had to work to take that first checkpoint. As Defiant getting in a spot where, oh, well, hold on. You get rid of Kaluge, but still they're in a fantastic spot. So this will be the cart getting over the line 5 minutes plus to get the second checkpoint.
Starting to feel the Margin effect a little bit more now. Oh, he's like with the jump shot. Oh my goodness. That's pretty telegraphed. I mean, you see a lot of players do that. The trajectory is rather predictable, but I don't think your Hydron actually had his crosshair placed for that.
Yeah.
My goodness. Can he find the Echo here as well? Spectra may not be aware how dangerously he's living, and Heesang finds him. Here's a chance for the Titans to set up on this second phase.
All right, so let's remember, in case this starts to get crazy, you know, 5 minutes plus we're on the clock. I think if you're the Titans, what you're probably looking at, and, you know, obviously the players wouldn't, you know, talk this way, they want to just intentionally win, is Hydron. Through that, that'd be like above the defense matrix, takes him out. If you can get this down to like 2:30 on the clock, I think you have to feel really good about that if you're the Titans. So you're really looking at getting like another like 2-3 fights go your favor.
This isn't enough leading of the clock though. Hydron's found 2 kills back to back here. Punk's been able to stay alive in fairness, but Spectra's sitting on a duplicate. As is Sugar Free. Those 2 picks from Hydron, though, have only really given some extra progress. They haven't allowed a team fight win. Hydron, a grapple? Was that Wayward? No, Kaluge comes to the rescue. He's trying to play from behind the defense matrix. Great play between Hydron and Kaluge. Keep each other alive. Captive Sun on Sugar Free. He dupes Iliari.
Yeah, that was a Captive Sun, it looks like, that maybe hit him, and then he actually just used the dupe to probably just take that off.
The extra healing is so big here. Outburst inside the small rune. Spectra being knocked around. Captive Sun coming out. Spectra's in trouble. Has to dupe the Diva now.
As well.
But elsewhere, Heesang gets crushed by Hydron, and he's found a second. Sugar Free also being brought down. The Widowmaker having impact, and quickly Sir Margez returning to the fight. Now Hydron gets to play a little close quarters, and the Defiants break through again.
I mean, so much pressure on Hydron throughout all of that, and somehow able to continue to live is gonna get healed up here. Takes a shot there from Heesang. You're gonna have another attempt here for the Titans to go out and touch a Sugar Free's now over to Tracer.
No key ultimates up right now for the Vancouver Titans. Is Tracer going to be enough here? Oh, not with Crimzo! Sleep with the fishes. Good respond though. Heesang able to trade out at the least. But there are more concerns now with limited healing output. You want to almost keep the Diva alive as long as you can for the free procs here, but that's going to be a self-destruct, maybe a remake now. He's saying might have to play a little more aggressively here. He sees those sticky bombs come in. Sugar Free gets flattened. Punt died with the stickies. Crimso's back though. Spectre's hit with a Bionade and Faith has to stay alive. He can't. Crimso can't touch either. And the Defiant are so close here. 4 minutes on the clock to finish the map.
I think the Nano on the Spectre just caught them completely off guard as soon as they lose Punk, and then now the Nano Echo's in the mix. I mean, he just starts chunking through everybody, and you said Crimso's back, but as soon as he gets back, it's Ultraviolet hit with a, hits a nice biotic grenade, so can't even provide any of that healing.
Hydron in trouble though, yeah, in for sight. Means Punk knows exactly where to go. This only lasts for 12 seconds, but it's 12 crucial seconds for the Vancouver Titans to set up with some peace of mind. You see, yeah, straight away, Faith looking for Kaluge, wants more pressure on the Diva, and Sugar Free finds his mark. The Tracer here now, a little bit hard to deal with.
I think the Tracer's going to be beneficial here, especially against the Echo. Like inside of this close quarter area, I think it's going to be really good just putting pressure on the Echoes. Tracer historically good at that.
Poison Vine hit by Sugar Free, he gets revealed. Crimso going down in the meantime, Hydron finding all of the picks now. Faith trying to shield Punk, trying to give him a chance to get back in the mech. He's going to give up his life for it. That might not be enough. Kaluge able to find Punk after the fact. No chance to get back in the mech, and Sugar Free goes down to his own bomb. Did he get slept on it? It's unclear.
I don't know. They don't actually see it, but man, they tried to go after Hydron so bad there. So not able to really make a huge play for him as he ends up living through all of that. This is a huge fight. I mean, you have Nano here, and you end up having a self-destruct. What is this? Captain Son on the flank.
Try and force them back. Hydron again. It's a pick on a Tracer. He's come alive again. So Margin now going to get out of the way of that self-destruct. He does. Punk at least able to get back in the mech for how much longer? He's saying there's a decent sight line, but no real easy kills from here. Punk just trying to buy time. They gave him the Nano to try and keep him in the fight. Margin got one himself now, and Kaluge is going to bowl him over. Again, Heesang loses out. Hydron has been all over this Widow duel so far, and that card is getting home with more than a minute and a half to spare at this rate. There's no one left for the Vancouver Titans, and the Defiant are ahead by over a minute. This is the time bank difference that we saw on Numbani.
Yeah, it's just flip the other way, right?
It's exactly the difference.
Yes, so we'll see kind of now with the Titans on offense. I mean, this kind of comes down to like the Widowmakers at the start, right? I mean, you need Heesang to come alive here because Hydron has definitely stepped up.
Stats-wise, Hydron is now 18-7 after being 5-6, if I'm not mistaken. That is a massive second half from him, one in which Heesang absolutely goes off the boil. There's something to be said for being able to play Widow on the attacking side of this map, as you have more variety. You can sort of set the pace in terms of where you set up and take your opponent by surprise. But that aside, Hydron has taken another step, and it's more than Heesang could handle.
Yeah, well, so I think we're going to get a chance to see what happened with the Sugar Free Pulse Bomb here.
Sleep him on it, yeah.
Yep.
Tooth Fairy won't be picking that one up, mate. I'll tell you that for free.
Really nice stuff there from Ultraviolet.
So here we are. How far into the map can the Titans penetrate with only a minute to work with? The first 10 seconds will set the pace for this overtime attack for a team that's a minute and 9 seconds behind the Defiant.
So really, I mean, your push here is kind of determined by like what your Widowmaker does, right? These fights aren't going to be, this, mid back and forth, right? It's really, maybe the Echo's able to finish off a kill that, the Widow gets, but it's really about how much value these Widowmakers, and Hydron is just on one right now.
He's just better, man. 19 final blows to his name. One of the most oversized performances on a Widowmaker player we've seen on a Decider map that I can remember. 20 seconds left.
He is just taking over the game here.
13 seconds.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, he thinks that somebody's on the flank. I mean, look at this.
Switched off to Tracer.
Oh, that feels terrible.
I think Hydron knows. They spotted the Tracer early. Margin suffering some degree of pressure now. Kaluge is going to be a rock Very hard to shift from his contesting position on the card. Buying time, giving space for Hydron to again surgically extract players like Sugar Free. He's just ripped around the corner and taken his head clean off. That's not supposed to happen. Yet another kill taken into the Magic 21. And nobody can answer the threat that Hydron emanates. He's got an aura about him right now. And in overtime, the Titans are a player down. Switch to the Sombra. Talk about desperation.
I mean, just look at how you have to play there around that corner there as Crimzo. I mean, you can't even peek there for a second, but now Sugar Free on the Sombra.
It's over.
Ooh, does not look like, yeah, this is going to be one where not going to be able to get the cart moving much at all, as that is a brutal offense there.
22-7 for Hydron out of a total of 45 final blows on the Widowmaker after getting only 5 kills on the first half. He has added 17 to that total in that overtime round and the Defiance attacking round.
I mean, just absolutely dominating the server. I mean, that is such a, I mean, that is a brutal just defeat right there, right? Where now, I mean, what do you even consider doing here on defense? I mean, it's the fact that you're not even going to play the Widow now, right? I mean, that feels like a victory in itself.
209. That's a lot to work with. The Titans aren't even going to bother coming out with a Widowmaker. That means that Heesang has conceded defeat in that head-to-head. He doesn't feel like there's enough time for him to have impact here. You better hope to be able to work some magic on this Tracer, because who will contest Hydron's position? Sugar Free?
I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, possible, but even then, like, Hydron, like, probably isn't even going to be in, like, this, like, you know, far out position, right? I mean, he can just kind of play here, right? And where the cart is, I mean, they're going to be forced to just kind of playing down on it. I mean, what, do you send, like, Sugar Free, like, after him in a way? Like, I don't know.
Sugar Free has a
like,
hard ceiling.
He could just switch off this if he wanted, right?
Sugar Free taking risks. Will the payoff? The Bionade comes in for Hydron. Dangerous, dangerous play from Sugar Free's Hydron. Opts to try and go for a high angle peek. Again, comes the Echo. Sticky bombs are pretty good. He's down to half. He's calling for healing again. Somebody keep me alive. And again, Ultraviolet responds. The Widowmaker is still on the field.
Yeah,
Punch down!
now the cart just gets, the cart getting closer and closer to that box of victory. And this is what's brutal, is look at this sightline that the Widow's gonna force these players into. I mean, they're just backed up into the corner.
Kaluge again, ushering the cart forward bit by bit. Heesang's already had to recall here, and Punk is far from the fight. It's over! The Toronto Defiant with the numbers. They're gonna get there. Sights squarely set on a hometown showing in the playoffs. And as one giant step towards that goal, Hydron has every reason to be celebrating. He dominated.
Everybody just kind of getting around Hydron there celebrating is, like, that is a brutal way to go down if you're the Titans. But you go down in the loser bracket, you're not out, right? So still an opportunity to continue on in the play-ins, and you put up a really good fight against a team who, you know, a lot of people thought would make it out, maybe, you know, through the lower bracket, but and Hydron just too much those final maps. I mean,
what a story!
Absolutely crushing them, yeah.
That's incredible. You are 0-2 down in a series that many teams, people think that you're going to win on the virtue of your Iliari Baptiste setups, right? But you get punished for those, or at least it seems that way over the first couple of maps. You finally get to play some Sigma, right? We get to see that play out a little bit on New Queen Street, and all of a sudden, things get turned on their head. It's such a one-sided affair. The Toronto Defiant making it interesting for us, but our player of the match should be the most obvious choice in the world, because Hydron put his team on his back on that Dorado map, but all throughout the series was a force to be reckoned with.
Well, earlier in the series, think about, like, you know, the maps the Titans were winning, right? Like, Heesang was playing well. You know, they were denying Hydron a lot of these, like, different angles. And then, like, all of a sudden, it just flipped. I mean, these shots are just silly that he's able to hit on the Widow. But then also on the Soldier, I mean, look at that. He's got a self-destruct to his left, the whole fight going off, just casually just jumps out. I mean, just an incredible performance here from Hydron.
How does it have to feel to be Hee-Sang in this situation and know that you have to play out of your skin to stay in step with this guy? He obviously can't keep it up, and that's when things start to slide. 23
final
and 7
blows on Dorado.
Yep.
Yeah, like, I mean, not 23 elims, right? He's got almost 30 like elims in terms of kill countries, but 23 final blows is crazy. 19 of them headshots, right? I mean, just absolutely just took over the game. I mean, Widow is such an impressive hero, right? Like in the hands of somebody who can, be that good and just dominate. You rarely see somebody do that at like this level, right? Where they just don't like dominate the whole server on the Widow. I mean, just a sick performance from Hydron.
I don't even want to know what that scope critical hit accuracy is, but I think the Toronto Defiant have cemented themselves they've gone from being a very sort of average team to one of the most electrifying squads here in the Overwatch League on virtue of the comps they play and the comps that they make work. They must have been grinning from ear to ear when they saw Dorado get picked there. And Hydron had a chance to shine. What a story now as the Toronto Defiant dream is kept alive here in the play-ins, and we have a tasty matchup for them coming up next. Let's go to the desk, break things down on today, and set our sights towards next week at the culmination, of course, of our play-ins.
I pluck you. Break up. Go on.
Don't over, did I take point?
Tracer.
Coming.
Yeah, break a point. Go on.
Man, there was nothing mid about this performance from the Toronto Defiant. Hydron popped off. I mean, early on in the series, we were like so impressed with Hee-Sang because he had it out for Hydron as well. But then they came back with such a vengeance. It was incredible. That was such a phenomenal game, so much closer than I think a lot of people would have expected. And before we dive into the highlight and the nitty-gritty, we have to talk to the man himself. Hydron is standing by for an interview right now. Hydron, you popped off like nothing we've seen in a long time. Congratulations on that W.
Thank you.
All right, Hydron, I got to open this up. So for me, it felt like this series, those first two maps, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like Hee-Sang had your number. He was like going even wider on the flank on the soldier. And I felt like watching the series, like, is he gonna run away with it? And then something just changed. There was a moment, I think he flanked you a couple times on Flashpoint. And then from that point on, it felt like he almost never got the better of you again. And then on Dorado, the capstone. What did you do to like, what your coach give you a bottle of water? What's going on? Like, how'd you turn it around in the series?
I don't know, like he's just kind of the inferior player, so he's just kind of marking. He doesn't want me to kill everybody. But Dorado, I don't even know. I don't even know what happened. It just happened.
It happened. It sure did.
Yeah, the highlights were crazy. We gotta talk about the team though, because you were down 2-0 after Numbani, and then you gotta claw yourself back on Flashpoint. You reverse sweep the Vancouver Titans. How did you get the reverse sweep done? Like when you were down 2-0, what did the coaches tell you? What did the team agree on? What needed to change moving forward?
I think we kind of reset. I think we had our first two maps were kind of bad, and I think we kind of started to doubt ourselves, doubt our comp. But I think I really try to tell all my teammates that, like, hey, listen, what we play works. It worked in practice, so it's going to work now. We just have to trust it. And I think rallying the kind of troops and just believing in what we practice in.
Okay, looking forward, I mean, your next match is against Boston Uprising, and surprisingly, I talked to Decay right before this match, and Decay in his post-match interview said that, you guys were good, but it should be an easy win for Boston. So, Hydron, what do you think? Like, do you have any message for Boston Uprising?
It's Jover.
Well, bye done in that case. Danny trying to steer the pot here. Obviously, you and your team are confident, and rightfully so, looking at the performance we just got to witness. If you're looking ahead, since you're obviously going to make the playoffs, is there any team where you feel like the stylistic difference between your team and their team might make it at least a little bit difficult, or are you just super confident about all of them?
No. And you want to know why? Because I'm the GOAT. So, I'm the GOAT, style or not. Bang, 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 bang.
Go on, Kate, let's go.
Danny, headshot after headshot after headshot. We can't wait to see it happen. Hydron, thank you so much. actual return of the king. No, we love it. We love to see it. Thank you so much for joining us for a quick chat. Congrats once again to you and your team. That's right, show the guns. We can't wait to see those again next week. Thank you so much.
Oh, have a good one, guys.